Hey everybody, welcome to episode 4 of The Tesla Life. My name is Russell Frost. I am one of your two hosts this week. Joining me as always is Mr. Mark Coughlin.
Well, not always. I wasn't here last week, but we'll skip over that.
1 out of 4, it's like 25%, dude. And in most places, that's going to get you the participation.
I get the participation medal, so that's good. That's good. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show.
Absolutely. And speaking of participation trophy, not 1, but 2 camera feeds. 2. Dr. Evan Fusco, say hello.
Hey, everybody. I am coming to you live from the inside of my wife's Tesla Model X today. And we'll get to why here in just a moment.
Yes, we will. So tonight we're going to cover a whole bunch of ground. Just briefly, Evan is going to talk about the Model X Falcon wing doors and how to open them. We're going to talk about the robot invasion in Fremont. We're also going to talk about Model 3 quality and Model 3 ordering, as well as Tesla's new supercharger stations. All that and more coming up. So let's start with our man in the back seat of his wife's Model X, who I'm sure is standing in the garage glaring at him going, "If you mess up my car, I will kill you."
Well, if she knew I was getting ready to dismantle part of it, she probably would be out here.
Oh, God.
So she doesn't watch the show. Is that what you're saying?
No, she doesn't.
God,
and that's a good thing.
Yeah, because I'm afraid of her, and she's like 1,500 miles away. So, I mean, she's a doctor. She could cut me with a scalpel or something. So let's talk about, there was an issue this week, and there was an accident where a Model X caught fire. And I'm going to the story now here.
There's a high-speed collision in Hong Kong. I think Hong Kong or China. And a Tesla Model X ran into another car. Both vehicles were engulfed in flames. The batteries in the X were popping and on fire. And when that happens, the electrical system in the car shuts down. And so the button that you'd normally use to open the Falcon wing doors won't work, right? So normally they'll just come right up for you. But that didn't happen. And people were in the back seat. And as it is wont to happen in a time of serious accidents and fire and confusion, they had difficulty getting out and had to be rescued from the vehicle. And the owner is suing Tesla, so supposedly for $1.1 million because, I don't know, of emotional damage or something, because of their inability to escape from the vehicle. And to be fair to the people filing the lawsuit, the Falcon wing doors are probably my biggest complaint about the X. As cool as they look, I'm yet to be convinced that they're terribly practical. And then there's this issue of the difficulty opening them up in the case of an accident, particularly if you have people that aren't that familiar with the vehicle riding with you. A bunch of kids from the soccer team or whatever in there, they're going to have no clue on how to open those doors if the regular button doesn't work. There's no mechanical handle of any kind on the door. It's just this push button switch over here, if you guys can see that. And that's all there is. You can do it from the touch screen when the car is alive, but in an accident, that's not going to happen. So the way you get out, and this was presented to me by my delivery specialist when the car was delivered, is rather difficult. And I'm going to set this up, and hopefully you guys can see kind of what I'm doing here. This is the baffle over the speaker in the Falcon wing door. Can you see that all right, Russ?
Can see it perfectly, Evan.
Okay. So what you do is you got to pop this thing off in the middle of your accident.
Oh no. And
it's not easy. The clips are tight. Okay, so you pop that clip off, and then there's your speaker and stuff in here, and then there's this wire right here, and you're supposed to find this wire and pull it, and it releases the door. And I don't know if you can see it move, probably not. And then while it's released, you got to push the door up, and it's heavy. Now, if you get it up that far, you can get out, but again, it's not intuitive where that emergency release is located at all. It's hidden back in there. And then the door, if it's a kid, they're not opening that door, even if they figure out how to release that latch. It's just far too heavy to pull that off. It is spring loaded up here, so it does stay open once you get it open, but it's not a super easy thing. And so I think, there's some legitimacy to this guy's lawsuit, and that I believe Tesla should make the release a little bit more obvious. And I know aesthetically it's not going to be as great, but if they could even find a way to just have a small handle coming out right here that said emergency on it and you could grab and pull, I think that would resolve a lot of people's worries and concerns about this kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of crazy. You got to pull off a speaker grill and then grab an unmarked wire and yank it?
Well, your car is on fire and batteries are popping and your kids are bleeding. Yeah.
Well, even if none of those things, you just the adrenaline from a fender bender, Right. I mean,
you're not thinking straight.
No. And that's the thing. Evan, thank you so much, by the way. And please thank your lovely wife for allowing us to take her car apart.
I'm not telling her shit.
No, good point. Good point. Yeah, don't tell her.
All right, I'm going to log off of this and I'll join you downstairs here in just a second.
All righty. Through the magic of television.
Yeah, the magic of live TV. It is. I mean, I get it. I get why they've done this. And again, it's aesthetics, it's interior aesthetics. But Evan's totally right. There should be an access door. There should be a little handle or something. I mean, literally just a yanking on a wire. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. Well, should be like a jet seat eject button, like one of those red handles that you see by a fighter jet's seat. It's open the gull wing doors.
So and then you know where the next lawsuit comes from, right? The next lawsuit is, my 5-year-old pulled the eject seat handle when we were going 70 miles an hour.
He was shot out of the car.
Right. And mechanically opened the door. And, so I mean, there's no winning for losing here, but I agree. I mean, I think there's a valid point that this is a really hard thing to find. And if you're full of adrenaline, if your car's on fire, if batteries are exploding, holy shit, you got to pry the speaker grill off and yank on this wire?
Yeah, and like Evan said, who knows if your passengers have any clue as to, the procedure. It's not like you go through a 10-minute safety walkthrough as you take somebody for a drive after a soccer practice.
Well, and another piece of this is that information of how to do that emergency release. If your delivery specialist doesn't show you, it is not in the online owner's manual. It's only in the emergency response manual. So unless you've taken the extra step to go out and download that and study how to tear a car apart when it's in an accident, you're not going to have any clue where that release is. So I can promise you my wife has no idea that that's there or how to get to it. And it's her car.
You should show her that.
And you know what? 2 days ago when this story broke, that's actually the thought I had is I need to get the whole family out there and show them all where it is. The chances of us ever needing it are slim. You can crawl out, between the front seats and get out through the side doors if you need to, because those latches, they're electronic. So when you just move them slightly, the door opens. But if you pull them all the way, it gets to the mechanical release on the front doors. So even in electrical failure, those doors will open with the normal release latches. So escape is not going to be that difficult if you just crawl over the front seats. But a car load of kids, especially if you got them in that third row and everybody's trying to get out while the car's on fire, you want as many routes of exit available as possible.
Exactly.
Yeah, if it's in there,
right? Or if the front doors can't be opened because of something with the collision. There's just a lot of possibilities, and I think the chances are slim that that'll ever be an issue. But I'd sure rather they at least be aware.
Is it safe to say that this is the last time we're ever going to see Falcon wing doors on a Tesla?
I don't know. I mean, is it beyond the Model X? I don't know.
I believe that Elon was prompted on Twitter at one point about people pleading to have the Falcon wing doors added to the Model Y, and I think his answer was positive, but that was a few years ago.
Yeah.
I gotta think that he regrets the whole. I mean, they've been a lot of problems for him, and honestly, that car would still be very cool with just doors.
Yeah, I think so too. And I don't know. They look nice. They're really cool when they're working right, but they're complex. You know, the seals around the doors are complicated. We had to have one of the seals replaced the last time it went up for service because of bad road noise, and it just wasn't seated properly. But the whole thing, it's like almost like an O-ring, goes all around. That whole seal has to be fit in place on a very large circumference around that door frame.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, Evan, thank you so much. And thank your lovely wife, Dr. Fusco, for allowing us to do that. And don't tell her, though. Just say thank you, honey. Okay. The next story is has a little bit of a science fiction flair, which certainly appeals to me. But all over the news this week and on Electrek, as you see here, Tesla received massive shipment of robots for Model 3 production. These are some of the first pictures of all the new Tesla employees. I'm sorry, Tesla robots that will be.
That's partially right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are definitely employees. And, you know, there's a whole bunch of bots here. I mean, there's a mess of them, and they're red. And they look very robotic. And
my nipples are getting hard looking at that, man.
Is it really?
I'm telling you what.
Can I tell you that my night would have been complete without you sharing that? Anyway, I mean, on one hand, I'm like, oh, that's so cool. On the other hand, I wish they were welcoming new employees, but I get why they're not. I get why they're not. I'm not. I'm not. I do. I like it when humans are employed.
Well, I do too. But if they're less perfect than the robots and they take longer to do the job, and it's going to end up making the end product cost more, it ain't good. And
I wouldn't argue with any of those things. And I want to see succeed.
Some things online from some people that are allegedly in the know suggesting that it is going to be extremely unlikely that they will get all those robots up and running and calibrated, and he used some fancy word I can't remember at the moment, on the line doing exactly what it is they're supposed to do in 3 months. Because to think about coordinating that, programming them all to do what they're supposed to do, and making sure they all do it exactly the same way every time, that's going to take some time.
Yeah.
And that's going to take people.
Well, no, and again, I don't want to make that point too hard. I want to make the point because I think it's fair to make, and that's the kind of guy that I am. But that's the next challenge. Elon's got the robots in place. Now, can he find the humans to make the robots do what they're supposed to do?
Right.
Or will they be overthrown? It's only a matter of time before the robot says, man, I've been working too hard here.
Right, exactly. Napa's just across the bay. Can we have a day off?
Can someone bolt me from this concrete floor and let me take a lunch break?
Yeah. It could happen. Well, you know what? Speaking of Model 3 robots, Inside EVs posted an interesting story. Eric Loveday there about the Model 3. And put simply, he's questioning if quality is going to be an issue with the Model 3, which, is a question with any new car, but especially this is a big car for Tesla. This is their first mass production car. Is that fair?
Oh, yep. Easily fair. Yep.
Obviously, they've got a whole bunch of new robots that aren't bolted in and ready to go yet that are set up to do. So they haven't been making test cars with those bots yet. Elon's claiming that in 3 months he's going to be making cars. And I think questioning whether or not they're going to be able to deliver cars with quality, given the history of Tesla with initial problems, it's not an unreasonable question.
No, it's something that we've even addressed a few shows ago. Is that there's going to be an influx of new car buyers that are going to be waiting and have been waiting for years in some cases to pick up this car. And their expectations are going to be, I'd say, sky high. Like these people have been waiting all this time. They want this car. They've wanted this car, and now they are about to get it. So the question will be, will there be some forgiven? Will they forgive little things? Will they forgive medium things? Or will they forgive large things? Right. And I think the tolerance is going to be low.
So, we talked about this piece before, that the way that the rollout is designed is first receivers of the vehicles are Model S, or our Tesla and SpaceX employees. They're going to be the first ones to get their hands on these things. And you have to anticipate that their tolerance is going to be significantly higher. They're going to be right there at the factory if there's issues to address. The second level is our current Tesla owners. So again, we've pretty much been through these things and have some comfort level with the fact that things are probably not going to be perfect. And once those orders are satisfied, I anticipate they're going to be into the 25,000 at least range that have rolled out, if not more than that, before they start rolling out to the general public that have been waiting all this time. And hopefully a lot of those early issues that happened in the first 1,267 cars like mine, or 4,600 like my wife's Model X, a lot of those rough spots are going to have hopefully been worked out by then. And so I think that's a good plan. And then you also have to know that, at least figure that they've learned something from the process of developing and perfecting Model S, developing and working through the problems with Model X, and hopefully they will be a little more comfortable anticipating those issues with the 3. But there's going to be problems. I mean, I think anybody goes into this expecting these things to roll off the line like a perfect new Toyota Camry or buying the wrong car. There's going to be stuff.
If you had to guess, Evan, would you say that they're going to have a good 6 months with internal employees before it goes beyond that?
I hope not. I hope it's not that long with just internal employees. What
would be your best guess? And I know I'm putting you on the spot, but
I don't know.
You think it's going to be 2? That's it?
I think so.
Wow.
I don't think the current owners are going to be that patient. And it depends, but they're going to need to show that they can ramp production quickly, or, this $300 a share stockholders are not going to be happy.
Yeah.
They want some ROI.
This is a huge debut for them, and they have to, there's a lot of ifs, and they have to knock every one of these things down.
Yep.
Not to stay in business, but to keep going in the way that they have. They have to get a lot of things right, and hopefully Elon and his managers, his executives know that, and they're working on this stuff,
Yeah.
That's what
it's going to be something. Like, it really is going to be something for watching the outside, from the outside. At this, like you said, this thing has to go off like clockwork. Mm-hmm. And in the past, it hasn't been quite clockwork. But as Evan has mentioned, we're hoping that they've gained knowledge from the previous launches and can apply that to this Model 3 launch.
Absolutely. And
something on the quality side of things that I think they haven't really addressed yet. And I have Phil, I dropped his name last week. I'll drop his name again this week. My friend Phil here locally I had lunch with him the other day, and one of the things he's still concerned about and is considering waiting to take delivery of his Model 3 until the problem is fixed is service center access. We are still a 360-mile round trip to the closest service center where I live here, and since the lifetime unlimited Ranger service is no longer available, a $500 service call to get a door handle fixed or something like that is a lot, and that's not something that these people trying to buy a relatively economical vehicle are going to be willing to put up with. So I think they're going to need to come up with some creative solutions to address some of the service holes. They're trying to fill the supercharger holes, but they need to fill some of these service holes as well that still exist around the country.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about growing pains, and we tend to think of it in a very one thing at a time kind of growing pain. Tesla has like 10 different issues that are all critical to their continued success in the next 18 months. And they have to knock down each one of these things. I'm not saying they can't do it. I'm saying it's tough, and I wish them all the success in the world. But if they do it, it's going to be amazing.
Right.
I mean, give them credit. And continuing on with the Model 3, Clean Technica published what they called a rumor, which frankly, it's like one of those things. It's so logical and reasonable that whether or not it's a rumor, if it's not, I'm wondering if Tesla isn't already thinking about maybe doing this. They say that Tesla's likely to begin Model 3 production with blocks of set configurations, and then the custom orders will come later on, which again, is it a lot easier to watch your robot make 500 of the same things? Oh, of course it is. Oh, hell yeah. And I would guess that's probably part of their rollout anyway, right? Is this news?
Not really. And this is not really a guess. This is just logical, like you said.
Evan says maybe.
I don't know. I mean, they haven't done it that way before. I know this is a different vehicle. They've already said that they're not going to have the dual motor available until later on, but we'll see. I think a lot of people are going to want some fairly custom features and have come to expect that out of Tesla, particularly the employees and the current owners. And you tell me I can only get it with, in black with the green interior. I'm not buying it.
So somebody ordering, say, their third and fourth Teslas might be a little pickier than somebody maybe waiting for their first Tesla. Is that what you're saying?
I am. Now,
but also keep in mind that Elon has said already that there's going to be less selection with these Model 3s than what people are used to.
Which is why I think they're going to be able to roll out relatively decent combinations. So, will there be, will they batch them to some degree? Sure. So maybe, you wait an extra 2 weeks or extra months to get your car if you want the purple interior instead of the green interior. But I don't know. I can see the logic of it, but I can see it turning off a lot of people that have different expectations of Tesla.
Right. It will be interesting to see, and certainly they could do. I mean, when they say blocks, it doesn't mean that they're going to produce one type of Model 3 for a month. It could be 2 days. You know what I mean? Minimal retooling or whatever, and then produce a variant.
Yeah.
But again, this just seems to make so much sense.
Yeah, it does. But robots are smart, and when they program those things in, they start. They assign that VIN number, and they start it one into the production line. It's just a dude on a computer telling it what to do, and the robots can do different stuff on down the line, right? I mean, they
allegedly,
right? When vehicle number 1 comes, it puts the glass roof on. When vehicle number 2 comes, it puts the panel roof on, and it's not. I don't think you're going to confuse the robots.
Okay. Well, we'll see how that.
But you may be confusing the programmers that are trying to make the robots think.
Maybe, but again, it should be pretty automated. You order your car from a computer screen. It's not like somebody has to read a handwritten receipt, and that computerized order goes into a computer that programs in the. Somebody confirms it with you on the phone that that's what you really want. And then that is entered electronically, and that electronic information goes into a computer that tells the robots what to do. We're in a brave new world, folks. We can program shit.
Yeah. No. I mean, and that's obvious too. But anytime you change parameters of things, it opens up variables which could potentially lead to problems.
Now, if I were going to say something that I think might limit things is suppliers. If they can't get enough of the upgraded stereo systems to meet the orders, then they're going to crank out a bunch of the standard stereo system vehicles, and you're going to wait. I think we saw some of that with Model S when it came out, that you couldn't get the standard suspension right away. If you wanted your car right away, you paid for air suspension. That's the way it was. Right. That's why I've got air suspension. I didn't really want air suspension. I couldn't care less about air suspension. I didn't really want to deal with the mechanical issues of air suspension. I wanted my car. I paid for air suspension.
Yeah.
Right.
Man, talk about upgrades with a gun to your head.
Do you want the nice carpet or not? I like that. Dr. Fusco, if you want to see this Model S, let's say in 2015, maybe, just maybe, you'll order the nice seats.
Evan, did you get any type of communication from Tesla letting you know about these things? Because obviously you would have ordered it with something, and then to find out that that's not going to play. How did you find that out? Was it website or was it a person?
I don't remember. It's been 4.5 years, but I want to say that I'd first heard the rumors online, and then when I went to place my order, you click on the features you want, and it said, you could still click standard suspension, but it said you got to wait till next year sometime. I think it said spring 2013 or something for that option. So immediately I didn't click that option. I believe that's how it went.
There you go. Well, we've been talking about Model 3 a lot. And again, sort of dovetailing into that was another electric story, which I find fascinating. And I want to do some screen share on this, because there's some pictures in here that are kind of cool. Tesla's announced new supercharger stations with, in quotation marks, several dozen chargers ahead of the Model 3 launch. What we find out if we read down in the story is that several dozen could be as many as 50 to 100 individual chargers. Of course, I think part of that supercharger station then would be like a nuclear power plant.
Yeah. Holy cow.
Yeah, I can't even imagine the high tension wires that would have to come in to charge all those vehicles at once. But this is sort of where Tesla's getting to in some of the denser urban areas, that these little, supercharger stations with 6 or 8 chargers are full very, very frequently. So something like this it's the future at some point, right?
Yeah, I guess so. As we move up, California and a couple other places on the East Coast are really right now the only ones that you ever hear about full charging stations.
Right.
But they're also the ones that are going to be buying most of the cars, particularly California, Oregon type areas. And yeah, you can anticipate that they're going to see a lot more use, and even apartment dwellers are going to do the math and say, yeah, I can still save money by paying for my electricity supercharging. Even if that's
kind of interesting that the article did indicate too that Tesla may be just changing their stance on superchargers and starting to put them into more of a not residential, but developed area. So not in between highway stops. There's talk that they're changing their stance, and it's going to be able to help the condo and apartment dwellers that have no access to, either because of rules of the condo or otherwise, that they can now have the ability to go within the city and charge their car quickly through a supercharger, bring it home, and operate it as normal.
Yeah, I heard a rumor that they're going to be putting one in downtown Kansas City. And I was frankly surprised because there's one just outside the Kansas City limits that's hardly ever used. But apparently they're trying to attract more of that urban business.
Well, and can I just point out, especially, let me go back to screen sharing here so I can make my point visually and verbally. If I worked at Tesla and I had something to say about this program, I'm just wondering what the sign on the building would be other than Tesla. Is it going to say like Panera Bread or something?
Maybe.
You got to think. You have to think that, I mean, come on. You've got upper level demographic Tesla owners coming into this place, hanging out 20 minutes, half an hour, maybe an hour, who knows, whatever. I mean, that's a kind of convenience store dream, right? You don't want them just to be hanging out in the lot. They're not going to be hanging out in the lot smoking cigarettes and drinking beers out of the back of a truck. Okay. These people might want to sit down and have a cup of coffee and maybe a scone or God knows what, again, and I think that's sort of that, in this bigger station size, they can do things like that.
Yeah, it's going to be a retail opportunity for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Could you imagine like how cool it'd be to be able to order your Starbucks and go sit at a table and you plug in what stall number, type in what stall number your car's at, and then it gives you a little beep at 5 minutes till. You can, maybe even has a little camera on your car so you can peek over and make sure nobody's screwing with it or whatever. I don't. It'd be a really cool opportunity, like to kind of merge some stuff there between the charging.
Or maybe they'll kind of work it into like Sonic, where you'll get service right to your car.
Tesla people do not eat in their cars. Okay. This is the one person here who doesn't have a Tesla in order. I do. This is we talked about this on What Drives Us a few years ago when we were talking about charging stations and that the no-brainer is they need to be attached to, whether it's a food court, or a mini mall. You know what I mean? They need to be attached to something where people can spend some time pleasantly, as opposed to sitting out there drumming on the hood of their car, waiting for the damn thing to charge. You want to make that charging experience pleasant.
Okay.
There was a time when airports were gates. And that was it. You went in the airport and you got on your plane. And if you had to wait, you sat in a chair and you looked at a blank wall. Now airports are malls and restaurants and food courts and all of this other stuff, because they realize people are in these buildings for hours and hours. Why not take some money from them?
Yep.
I think that's an incredible opportunity for Tesla and for some other.
Yeah, and you may see some partnerships develop, like you said, Panera Bread or others that will go along with it because it's their demographic of people that are there.
Absolutely, or could be their demographic, right? I mean,
well, and there already are some. Bass Pro has several Tesla superchargers. The new one that's opening in Little Rock is affiliated with the Bass Pro. The one in Independence, Missouri, just outside of Kansas City, is a Bass Pro in their parking lot. And there were rumors that the one in Springfield was going to be there until the O'Reilly family, who is a Tesla owner, solicited the opportunity from Tesla and had a better location, frankly, on I-44. So, and I think there are a couple other locations as well. So there definitely are those things coming about. And, Bass Pro's a great one. I mean, plenty of time to wander and ogle the fish and the clothes and the bass boats. And then they tend to have a very nice restaurant associated with each one as well. So yeah, those are definitely coming along.
I think it's in Tesla's best interest to find those partnerships and make those connections. If it's literally like this horrible illustration, just an empty room with some plastic chairs, oh God, I pity the poor Tesla owners.
Right. Well,
and while you've got that photo up, there is some controversy, or the rumor mill's kicked up based on what's in the photo as well. Is that interesting color of red they have on the car? So the rumor mill has kicked up. Is this a true color or just an artist rendering?
That's that car right there.
Yep.
Yeah.
That car. Let's see. Do we have another one? Yeah, this one right down here.
Exactly.
Ooh, did we see?
It's repeated over there too. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're saying that the other cars, and Evan could attest to this, are close to Tesla colors.
Yeah.
So I mean, I hate to say it, but really, is like dark cherry red that revolutionary? I guess it is. It is. It's cool because everybody's looking to get any scrap of knowledge they can.
Exactly.
You know, so I can't blame them for that. But yeah, boy,
Speculation.
It's our stock and trade. Welcome to the Tesla life. Well, there's something we don't have to speculate about. Electrek also this week announced that Tesla's updating its body shop program to simplify and reduce the cost for Model 3. They are apparently looking at approving more rigorously, more third-party companies. And they're also simplifying the training and reducing the cost to become certified, again, to expand that so there'll be more shops, sort of addressing that concern that you had earlier, partially at least, right, Evan?
The body shops, yeah. But so the issue with the body shops is that, I mean, the forums are replete with complaints of people who have been without their vehicle for months on end, and been stuck with exorbitant costs to replace a bumper, $10,000 kind of range and things like that, and just parts and supplies and cost of repair in general, because it has to be by an approved body shop, have been pretty high. And apparently the non-approved body shops can't get the parts, so it leaves you no options. And ultimately that's bad, I think, for insurance costs, because insurance companies are ultimately eating all that, and they're going to feed that right back to the consumers.
And again, this is a growing pain issue for Tesla, that they're not producing the parts fast enough to make cars and get to these body shops. They don't have enough body shops to service the cars that are being damaged. As they sell more cars, it's going to become more acute. They're the victim of their own success to some extent.
Right.
So,
yeah, so being able to ramp that up, again, another part of one of those 10 things that they have to get right.
Right.
I mean, how often do we hear the horrible word scaling, right? It's all about scaling. You know, it's one thing to be able to do one thing for one person once. It's another thing to be able to make a business out of it and repeat that success with quality. And Tesla's, they have some definite challenges. So
absolutely,
they will be tested. But good news that they are reacting, and that they will hopefully be approving these additional 300 shops, and that these shops will do good work, and people will get their vehicles repaired and back to them more quickly. We could talk about aluminum welding and how difficult that is, but I think
I couldn't talk about that.
You want to? Do you really? I just read about it. I mean, I knew about it.
But, you know,
I've never done aluminum welding for some reason. I don't know why, but
well, you know, they're going to be using less aluminum though with the all glass roofs now, so that hopefully that'll become even. You know, they're going to be using less aluminum in total because of that on the whole vehicles. Yeah,
and you have to wonder if that isn't just like drop-in replacement part.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like you order them from somebody else's factory, and you just boom, thank you, it's done. Yep. I have to think that, at least, but because I'm kind of simple that way. Well, finally this week, we're going to end on not really a down note, because it's a voluntary recall, but it is a recall. Tesla recalled 53,000 Model S and Model X cars for a parking brake issue. And specifically, this is a voluntary recall. They have not been forced by NHTSA to do this. No one has reported this as being a cause of an injury or an accident at this point. At least that's what Tesla is saying. Not to question that, I'm just putting that out there. Apparently, there is a gear in the parking brake assembly that is defective and can break and will leave the parking brake engaged, which obviously isn't much fun.
So remember, there are two sets of brake calipers on every disc on every wheel. On the S and the X, and the big one's your main friction brake for stopping the car when you're driving. The other one's a smaller one, maybe half to a third of the size of the main caliper, and that's your parking brake, and it's electronically activated and electronically released, and that that's how it works. There's no handle, there's nothing you pull, there's no mechanical anything, there's no wires that go to it. But within that, obviously, there's a gear that has to close that caliper down and release it. And like I said, they just found that gear is defective on a few of them. And the only thing that could happen is that it could cause the brake to not release after you've parked. So it's essentially impossible for you to be injured driving because you couldn't be driving when that problem happened. So,
or you'd be going very slow.
Very slow. Or dragging the tire along with you. So it's really a non-issue as far as any safety stuff, but nobody wants to get in their car and not be able to drive it because the brakes won't release. So I'm glad they're recalling it. And my wife's Tesla Model X is affected. So we'll be getting the recall whenever the parts come out, but we've certainly never had any issues at all.
Right. And so if you're worried about this affecting your vehicle, Tesla is building up the parts for it right now. They say that they will have all the necessary parts to start effecting repairs in October. So this is not a burning, like, oh my God, you're going to have to get it done in the next 7 to 10 days thing. This is a process that's going to take time. They will notify all the owners that are affected, I guess, or have they already notified?
They sent an email out before it even hit the press that I got. And then I had a snail mail letter within 2 days after that release.
Excellent. Okay.
So everyone's been notified, and it's been very effective and efficient. And I really haven't heard, other than that temporary drop in the stock price when the release first came out. I think anybody that bothered to read it went, "Oh, this is nothing," and everything's been fine.
There you go. There you go. Well, and just another thing. I mean, I noticed that Brembo's making this. Brembo's not some like shady third-party company. I mean, Brembo makes really nice brake units. So this isn't like Tesla bought some crap from I mean, Brembo makes good products. So
don't name anything, Russell. Don't name where they would have got them from.
Oh, no.
Our lawyers will be on the phone. Remember,
you say we just lost Brembo as a sponsor. That's it. You named us, you bastard. Even though I said something good about them,
No, I meant you were about to name somebody that you don't want to get your brakes from.
You mean like that defective airbag company? No,
something like that. That's right.
No. Those wonderfully exploding airbags. Yeah, that's not a problem. Yeah. We're gonna ignore that. So you know what? That's all the news I have this week. We covered so much ground this week, though.
Live on the scene shoot to
crazy
It's
stories.
gonna be tough to overcome next week with a live on report scene.
Yeah, I mean, Evan, can you demonstrate something every week? Because all of a sudden now, can you maybe just do donuts at the beginning of the show or something? I don't know. Is that? I'm serious, Evan. You can't do that. Okay.
We know how to make it work now. After
a little
fumbling.
I mean, I'm fine with that.
Making babies in the back seat.
Whoa!
Special guest.
So wow. And we went there.
and she'd leave you for me in a heartbeat, right? Because of the
yeah. Oh yeah. Not a problem. Not a problem. Well, let's do some shout outs and go home, gentlemen. Evan, you got anything?
I don't. I think I don't know if we ever put it up, but certainly anybody interested in buying a Tesla that hasn't done so yet, I've got a referral code that'll save you $1,000, and it gets me like a leather laundry bag or something. I don't know, but
a leather laundry bag.
Everybody wants one of those.
Know.
You're weird, dude.
Yeah, I know. I don't even know what it is this time. But I like saving people money, and it makes me feel good when I've been a good ambassador for the brand. So, but if you've got a good friend or somebody by all means use their code. And I'm not out there trying to. There's people that have websites and everything else trying to get as many as they can, and it's like a business for them. But that's not me. But it's out there, and it makes me feel good when people use them, and it's nice to have a chance to win a free car.
Absolutely. Support the show. Get Evan a free leather laundry bag or whatever weird freaking thing. Away. Mark, did we, and by we I mean you, did we put that up on the Facebook page?
So we is me. No, I have not. But
Either I or Mark will do that this week, Evan.
Okay.
If you're looking for Evan's referral code, check our Facebook page. It's facebook.com/The Tesla Life numeral 1. The Tesla Life numeral 1. Okay. Mark?
I haven't got any real shout outs, but I do have some breaking news that I just wanted to share. The Model 3 was caught again in a slightly different configuration just recently. They're not sure if this is a new one or just a modified one. And the modification that they noticed with these spy shots was the tail reflector is now in place. So the flip open charge port door hider reflector is now in place on
what did it
the
look like
Model
before?
3. Before, it was a solid black piece of plastic.
Okay.
And so they're not sure if this is a brand new second blue one or if this is the original blue that just went in and they modified the door. Not sure, but it's the latest spy shot of the car.
It's literally like, hey, we got this part in. Cool, let's put it on.
Let's put it on. Yeah, and then there's a guy standing outside the gate ready to snap a picture of it.
Right. Yeah, some poor bastard who's out there 7/24 waiting for just one shot of a stupid plastic door. And that's the picture they get. Come on, dude. Come on. Lenses are not that expensive. You can do better.
Exactly. And you notice that some of the finishing touches aren't quite there yet. You'll notice the center cap for the wheels. They are not installed on any of the pictures. So, and the previous pictures before, even the little T was not appearing, and now it's in place. So they're starting to deck them out. So be interesting to see as it goes along.
Wow. Thanks for sharing that, Mark. That was beautiful. I love that. Last minute breaking news.
Breaking news.
Evan, are you excited about that? I mean, did you anything in there that affects your order? I don't know. I'm just curious. I ask these things.
Evan's been through the process a couple times, so it's not as quite as exciting as the previous times, I'm sure.
No,
fair enough.
And especially since I still don't know what I'm going to really do. So,
fair enough. Well, I guess I should just add that you can find me at PriusOwnersGroup.com or WhatDrives.us. I do this little show with a couple of these guys too, called What Drives Us, that starts recording in about an hour. So you can find us there, of course, or you can find me there when I'm not here at The Tesla Life, and that's Facebook.com, The Tesla Life #1. Again, that's the best place to go. You can interact with us there. We're on Twitter at The Tesla Life Show. At The Tesla Life Show. Please add us. Suggest us to your friends.
No, it's at The Tesla Life.
It's at The Tesla Life. Excuse me.
For Twitter.
I have to script this out. I can't. So I'm going to stop doing it, other than to thank Lee Moon, who composed and generously gave us our theme music. Tune in next week and find out what's new and exciting in The Tesla Life.